will now start our weekly teleconference. We start this morning with Morgan State head coach Lee Hull. Good morning, Coach Hull.
Good morning.
How are you this morning, Coach?
I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there.
Not a problem. Well, Coach, good performance last week for the Bears as you defeated Hampton. Can you talk about this game?
Well, it was a hard-fought game. Like I told my players from the beginning, Hampton was getting better and better every week, and you can tell that. It was their homecoming, so they were inspired and ready to play. The coaching staff there does a great job with them, and you can see on film that they're very disciplined and well coached. So it was a hard-fought game. We got up early on them, 14-0, and then at halftime was 14-7. They came back, out in the second half, scored 28 points, and we had to, go down and with a minute and 13 left and to score in a 2-minute drill to win the game. So, both teams I thought played well, on offense and did a lot of good things.
Well, Coach, you were in a 5-way tie for first place in conference standings and are led offensively by a player who got his start after injury to a teammate. In just your first year at the helm, are you where you thought you would be at this point of the season?
Well, it's where I hope to be. Didn't know coming in, the first season how the players, would handle the new type of discipline and the new offense, the new defense, the new special teams, the new schemes, how they would pick it up. But I'm very pleased at how they picked it up. They've always talked about they wanted to be accountable for everything they did. They wanted to win, and they just been working hard. So I'm just pleased where we are, and just hope to continue, our success.
Well, looking ahead, this week you face another conference powerhouse as you take on North Carolina A&T. What are your thoughts regarding this game?
Well, it's not going to be easy. Coach Broadway, has done a great job there since he's been there. They're 7-2, and has done a great game, great job of getting his guys prepared. Defensively, they're excellent. They're one of the top defenses in the league, and offensively they got a great running back that you can't stop them. You got to try to contain them as much as you can. They got their quarterback back, which is also makes it very, very difficult. And they got a couple good receivers that can do some different things. They're a little versatile in that. So it's going to be a hard-fought game. We got our work cut out for us, and we're just going to go down there and see what happens.
Well, thanks, Coach Hull. That concludes all of my questions this morning, but if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
Thank you. And as a reminder, to register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. We have a question from the line of Edward Lee. Please go ahead.
Morning, Lee. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Edward?
Good. I was wondering if you could comment. I know, in the past you've been very public about, Robert being your guy, but this is the second straight game that Moses has started at quarterback. What has changed over the last couple of weeks?
Nothing has changed. Robert has had some nagging injuries that he was not 100%. So I made a decision that Moses gave us his best opportunity to win the football game.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask this then. Considering how well Moses has played in the past 2 games, would it be difficult to take the ball away from him and go back to Robert?
No, if Robert's healthy and he gives us the best opportunity to win the game, Robert would be in the game. It'll be a game-time decision. We'll see how he does this week.
Is there a certain threshold in terms of Robert's health that you would need to be comfortable with?
Yeah, he has to be able to go out there and protect himself. I'm not going to put any of my players in harm's way to win a football game.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel Moses played, especially in this past game against Hampton?
I thought he did a great job. He had a great command of our offense. You could see the growth from the Villanova game where he threw 3 picks. He did not throw any picks. He had the one fumble where he just needed to cover the ball up when he's getting tackled. But, making the reads in the run game and the pass game, I thought he did a great job.
He's, one of the things about Moses is that he was always a very good pocket passer. And I'm curious, does that aspect of his game, does that make your offense more dangerous?
Well, obviously, it makes any offense more dangerous when you have a guy who can throw the ball. Obviously, everybody knows we have a pretty good run game with Herbert. But when you have a quarterback that can also throw the ball, it makes any offense more dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Looking ahead to Saturday's game, how significant is this game? I mean, I know that obviously every game is probably important to you, but I mean, this is a matchup between the 2 division leaders.
It's a very important game. Obviously, if we want to win the MEAC, which is our goal, North Carolina A&T right now is leading. A division. They're on top with us. They're 7-2. They're a very good football team. So this is a very, very important game, just like the next 2 after this. But we're not worried about that. We're just worried about concentrating and putting a good game plan again together and going down there and playing our best game of the year.
How do you balance having your guys being excited versus maybe being a little bit too emotional about this game?
It's we talked about it. It's a fine line. There was a couple instances in the last game against Hampton where these guys were pumped up, they were excited, and we had to settle them down. Because if you're too excited, too pumped up, then you lose focus. So we try to tell these guys and get them prepared to stay focused for 60 minutes.
And then, Coach, when you talk about North Carolina A&T, they lead the conference in interceptions and takeaways. So how much do you emphasize ball security leading up to this game?
Well, we emphasize ball security every game. Every day in practice we do some type of ball security drills. So it's very important. Obviously, against a defense like this, it's going to be very important for us to protect the ball. But also, we got to keep drives alive because their offense is very, very good also.
Mm-hmm. And then you guys also lead the conference in fewest turnovers. I think only 11 through 9 games. What's been the key for you guys in terms of protecting the ball?
Like I said, we emphasize it. We do ball security drills every day. In practice, we talk to the quarterbacks about, if they don't have a throw, don't force a throw. It's good to find the running back, throw the check down, run, or throw the ball away so we can live the play in the next down. So and they both have done a great job that way. Obviously, Moses in his first game with Villanova did not, but obviously you can see what he did, against Hampton.
All right, thank you, Lee. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you. We have no further questions.
Thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach Hull. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
Okay, thank you.
Morgan State will travel to Greensboro, North Carolina to take on North Carolina A&T. That game kicks off Saturday, November 8th at 1 p.m. and will be played at Aggie Stadium. Next up, we have Florida A&M head coach Corey Fuller. Good morning, Coach Fuller.
Good morning.
Welcome to our weekly teleconference call, Coach.
Thank you.
No problem. Well, Coach, can you talk a little bit about last week's matchup against Norfolk State?
Yeah, Norfolk State was a great opponent. It was a great game. Didn't like the outcome, didn't like the ending of it. It was a rough week around here. The kids got up and got themselves going. In 2 days, we literally practiced 2 days at the most last week. And it was tough, but the kids put great effort forth. I played a lot of football, seen a lot of football. These kids down have a lot of heart and a lot of courage. So we're going to just keep plugging along. This coaching staff is doing great in the situation that we're in. We're just going to work it.
Well, Coach, as you alluded to, you have taken over the reins of a team that has seen its share of off-the-field distractions. At this point of the season, you've passed the halfway point. How do you keep the players focused on the field and not on the off-the-field distractions?
Well, the football part of it is pretty easy because I've been in a few situations just alone in the NFL as a player when we were 0-5, 0-6, and I've tried to show the kids, look, if you can get up in all this mess and go play football, you got to realize if we stopped killing ourselves, we would have won the Norfolk State game. Norfolk State didn't beat us; we beat ourselves. But it's years of undiscipline. It's not going to happen overnight. It's the structure. We got to fix it. It takes time. I don't know what the outcome going to be, but I'm going to work like I'm going to be here forever. These kids are buying into what we're trying to do. We're trying to leap on the floor. You know, you can't go wholesale because all the shock has been to them in the last week. So if I go ahead and just go crazy like I know, discipline and structure from playing for Bobby Blount and playing up on the Mick Andrews, it could send another message to the kids, and I don't want them to shut down mentally. And so at the end of the day, we're going to work, and we're going to judge the situation as they come up and do what we have to do as leaders.
Well, looking ahead, this week you host South Carolina State. Talk about this upcoming matchup.
They're a great team. You know, they're fighting to still be in the MEAC run. We're not in the MEAC, and I'm not going to be ashamed to say that it's disappointing. We're 2 years in a row we've been here. We haven't put the product on the field that people should see from a staff like this, to be honest. At the end of the day, South Carolina State, they want to win. They need to win to keep going, to keep fighting for the MEAC. And like I said, I'll be honest about it. All we can do is be spoilers. But we're going to play good. I know they're going to come home. Last year was a great game up there. They're going to come down here to Tallahassee and try to do what they've been doing all year. They look good on film. They're very explosive on defense. They have great players, and they return game with the cornerback. He's doing a great job. So, you know, we're just trying to hash out the best game plan, do the best we can just to be in the game.
Well, thanks, Coach Fuller. That concludes all of my questions this morning. But if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
Thank you. And again, to register for a question, please push 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone.
And we're back. My name is Patricia Porter, Assistant Commissioner for Media Relations for the MEAC, and I am serving as the moderator of today's call. Next up we have Bethune-Cookman head coach Brian Jenkins. Good morning, Coach Jenkins.
Good morning, Ms. Porter.
How are you this morning, Coach?
Making the best of it as always.
As always. Well, Coach, pretty competitive matchup last week against the Eagles. Can you talk about the win over North Carolina Central?
Tremendous win for our program. It's a hard-fought football game, which we knew it would be. And, you know, North Carolina Central is definitely a team to be reckoned with. Coach Mack is doing a phenomenal job at building that program. And, you know, we just found a way to somehow pull it out in the end. So I'm happy with the victory, and now I'm ready for the next challenge that is going to present itself on Thursday.
Well, Coach, there is not one face on this team that has shouldered the full load of the wins and or the losses. Can you talk about your philosophy of keeping this team as just that, a team, and not resting on individual play?
Well, from day one, when we built this program, we told our young people that we were going to build this program on a program of men and not just one man. And we were going to build it around a group of individuals who all wanted to achieve the same goal. And therefore, at any point in time, any individual could be called upon to be the front runner. And, you know, that's how we do it on our coaching staff, and therefore we do it the same way on our team. And because of that, our guys understand team. They understand how to place themselves in position to help the team. And they prepare every week in order to play and give a grand team effort. So because of that philosophy, it's been a good thing for us to have several individuals step up to the forefront and help lead this team to victory.
Well, looking ahead, as you mentioned, this week you face Norfolk State on a short week. What's your outlook for this matchup?
Well, I mean, our plan is to go in and play a hard-fought football game and come out victorious. I mean, Norfolk is definitely a team that is always in the running. Coach Adrian is always prepared and has his team ready to fight week in and week out. And this week is it's not going to change. So we're looking forward to playing Norfolk. We play on Thursday night, which is exciting to us. I think we're on ESPN. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, we're just looking forward to go in and get into another battle, another fight, because we like to fight. And so we're looking forward to this fight that's going to happen Thursday night with Norfolk.
Well, thanks, Coach Jenkins. And also, yes, to clear it up, it is a live televised telecast on ESPNU at 7:30. So that concludes all of my questions this morning. If I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
And to register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. We have no questions from the phone lines.
Well, thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach Jenkins. Best of luck to you this week.
Thank you, Ms. Porter.
Thank you. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Bethune-Cookman will travel to Norfolk, Virginia to take on Norfolk State. That game kicks off Thursday, November 6th at 7:30 p.m. and will be played at Dick Price Stadium. The game will also telecast live on ESPNU. That concludes our interview with Bethune-Cookman head coach Brian Jenkins. Our next interview with Delaware State head coach Kermit Blount will begin promptly at 10:33.
Go ahead.
Thank you and welcome back. Again, my name is Patricia Porter, Assistant Commissioner for Media Relations for the MEAC, and I am serving as the moderator of today's call. Our next interview is with Delaware State head coach Kermit Blount. Good morning, Coach Blount.
Hey, good morning, Patricia. How are you?
I'm doing well, Coach. How are you?
Trying to hold the boat up afloat,
Definitely, Coach. Well, difficult matchup last week for the Hornets. Can you talk about that game against Howard?
Well, anytime Delaware State and Howard gets together, it's a toss-up. It basically has boiled down for the last 3 years that we had the ball last. And, I take my hat off to Howard. They did a good job in defending us in the red zone. We had the opportunities. We didn't capitalize. And we've been that way. We've been a little bit inconsistent most of the year. But at the same time, I thought our guys played hard. They played through the whole ball game till the end. The difference was the big play that Howard made that we didn't make.
Well, Coach, you have recorded 2 MEAC victories this season, but since then have had a little trouble of picking up those wins. What is the secret for this team to overcome its current 3-game losing skid?
Well, we're sustained a lot of injuries this year, and we make no excuses as coaches. As coaches, we don't talk about injuries and all the things that have gone wrong in our season. We still expect to win. We coach them hard. Our kids practice hard. They play hard. We just got to figure out how to overcome our injuries and keep the ship going and keep it headed in the right direction. I think we're headed in the right direction. We just need to get some people healthy, and hopefully, some of that big play people can come back and help us get over the hump for our last 2 ball games. This is a good week for us because we're open, and I don't think there's a team in the conference that have ever lost to open week, and I'm hoping that we can stay healthy this week and just try to get some guys healthy and get ready for FAMU the following weekend.
Well, this week you do have a bye. What is the focus of this open week?
Well, as any coach in the conference will tell you, always go back to basics. You try to go back and correct some of the mistakes that you made in the past, a few football games that we played. Try to get our young guys better at the technique and the discipline of executing the offense and defense and special teams. So, we're going to be real basic this week, try to get back down to basics, and try to give our guys a couple of days away from football just to kind of walk away from it and live the life of a normal student where they not meeting and not practicing and not watching film and not in the weight room. Just try to kind of get those guys a couple of days away from it.
Well, thanks, Coach Blount. That concludes all of my questions this morning, but if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
No problem.
And to register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. We have no questions from the phone lines.
Well, thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach, and enjoy your week off.
Thank you, Patricia. You have a great week, okay? Don't forget to vote.
Not a problem. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
Delaware State is open this week. However, they will host Florida A&M in their next matchup. That game kicks off Saturday, November 15th at 2 p.m. and will be played at Alumni Stadium in Dover, Delaware. That concludes our interview with Delaware State head coach Kermit Blount. Our next interview with Howard head coach Gary Harrell will begin promptly at 10:43. Our next interview is with Howard head coach Gary Harrell. Good morning, Coach Harrell.
Good morning, Patricia.
How are you this morning, Coach?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Well, Coach, good win for the Bison last week. What are your thoughts regarding the game?
Definitely a win that was needed, and hopefully we can build on it. Coach Blount does a great job with Delaware State and his staff. You got to take your hat off to that team, team that has some injuries and some situations as far as personnel right now. They don't have their best guys that they can put on the field. And as a coach, and I'm sure Coach Blount, knowing him for a while, he continued to do his job, and his coaches continue to do their best and go with what they got. But it's always a tough battle with Delaware State. If it's there in Dover, it's here in Washington, D.C., it's always a great matchup. They have a tough team. They have a real tough team that fights hard from beginning to end. And I think what kind of separated the two teams on Saturday was penalties. Usually Delaware State do a good job. They're very well coached. They come in and don't have too many penalties. And I think some penalties put them in a crucial situation, put them behind a little. And I think we did a good job as far as, playing in front of the sticks, as far as moving the chains. Greg McGee did a good job. The running game was excellent. We made some big plays. We made big plays on special teams as far as blocking the field goal. We had a long run from Richie Ayagor, a 50-yard run touchdown. Anytime you're able to run the football and stop the run and make more big plays than your opponents, then you have an excellent chance as far as winning that ball game.
Well, Coach, you were not with the team last week as they won this first conference game. What were your emotions to see this team record its first win without you on the sideline, particularly after such a grueling conference schedule?
Yeah, it was very encouraging, listening to the game at my home and seeing how the guys responded and see how well they was doing. And, my coaches did do a great job as far as no distraction. The players did a great job of going throughout the week, and, I was able to be here with them some throughout the week. I had some personal issues I had to go take care of, but I had some things that I was here with them throughout the week, and they did a good job. We have a young team. We have roughly 8 seniors, and for the guys to come out and go about their everyday plan as far as on the football field and in the classroom, it was very, very positive for me to see that and listening and seeing how the guys was fighting, how they was making plays, and the confidence that they had in themselves. I think it was something we needed, and it was very encouraging to see what was going on as I was visualizing the game from my home.
Well, Coach, looking ahead, this week you face Savannah State. Can you talk about this pending matchup?
I'm sure it's going to be a dogfight. We're going down to Savannah, and they do a good job. I know Earnest Wilson is a great coach, very confident person, and he believes in what he believes in. They do a good job on what they're doing. I like what they have going on down in Savannah. It's a team that fights hard. They're very well coached. They do an excellent job in the passing game, and they really attack you on defense. And I'm pretty sure he's going to have his team ready to go. They have a good quarterback in Tino Smith. They have some guys at wide receiver that can make plays. So it's going to be another tough matchup for us to go down here and try to come back with a win. But we look forward to the challenge, and we know that it's going to be a great game this week.
Well, thanks, Coach Harrell. That concludes all of my questions this morning. But if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
Sure.
And to register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. We have a question from the line of Trevin Jones with Howard University Sports. Please go ahead.
Coach Harrell, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
I missed you on the sideline, Coach. Glad you're back.
Yes.
Quick question for you. And listening to the game and hearing how your defensive secondary stood up in this game, Talk about the development of the team and how impressed you are with your young secondary, where you actually have filled in gaps as well with different people.
Yeah, I am, man. And I told the team when I addressed them after the game afterwards, and I told them how proud I was in certain guys. And even though those guys, individuals, making the plays, they can't make those plays without the assistance of guys on the team. On defense, the guys in the secondary. We have a very young secondary with the absence of Cam, Austin, Julian, David, but we have guys that's stepping in. Like Ken Russ is getting better. I mean, he's definitely getting confidence. We feel comfortable putting that guy on anyone's best receiver. And now Trayvon Hunt, who's a young guy at the position, who came in as a safety, and we moved to a corner position. But he's doing a great job at that position. He's very long and lengthy, and he's very courageous as far as trying to make plays now and defending his guy. But on the back end, Craig Johnson, Jacob Bennett, these guys is filling in for our 1 and 2 guy that we're missing. I mean, they do a great job as far as being in position to make plays, and now they're making the plays. Craig Johnson was able to come with an interception. But defensively, it was good to see them make plays and get stops in certain situations for them to, keep the score to a minimum. And that's our goal, stop the run and not give up too many points. And offensively, we did a good job as far as the run game. But to hear the game and see our guys is steadily improving each week with the number of guys that we have out. It's a good situation to have our young guys getting better, getting the experience, and now they're making plays and getting confidence as we continue to go through the season.
And also, Coach, how talk about the focus of the team. They stayed pretty focused throughout the game. And when I say focus, I'm talking about the penalties. There weren't a great amount of penalties, and it seemed like Greg just had the guys focused and ready to go, and very disciplined.
Yes, and that's how it's been throughout that week. I think the bye week had a lot to do with it. It gave us a chance to break the monotony. It gave us a chance to relax mentally, get our legs back a little. So we had a great week of practice, and the guys were focused. They was tuned in, and I think it kind of showed in that game that when we're focused and when we're very in tune, what type of team we can be. And I think Greg McGee does a great job as far as leading with his leadership, as far as his action on the field, the way he played, and also his vocal skills. But those guys, man, they came out to play. I think they really wanted to win that game. Their heart was set on it. And I think it's going to do a lot for this team, for these young men. It's going to give them confidence. Winning does a lot. It carries a lot. You're able to build on the momentum. And now that's what we're focused on right now. We want to go ahead and finish this season. Like I said, we want to be a good, well-coached football team that's fundamentally sound. And the way we played Saturday with not too many penalties, making big plays, and just being very, very effective on special teams, that's what we want to play our brand of football here at Howard University. And it's good that they're able to see that and then come the next day and see it on film. And with a win, now they can believe and continue to buy in what we've been trying to preach all season.
Right. And, Coach, you mentioned Coach Ernest Wilson earlier as you're going down to play Savannah State. You talked about Tino Smith a little bit in his wide out. Is there anything that you see that could be a problem for the Bison going into this game? I mean, the other team is 0-9 or hasn't won a game this season. So how do you keep the guys up, focused, and do you see a problem when you're going up against the Tigers this week?
No, I don't really see a problem. You always want to be aware of the things they like to do best. We know their strength, and that's what we're going to do all this week. As we've been watching the film, as we go out to practice and continue to put our guys in situations to defend the things they like to do best. But we got to stay focused. And my guys, they always understand that, we don't play a team. We don't look at a record. We look at the individual on the field. When you watch Savannah on film, when you watch them all year, every week this team is fighting. Every week they're going up and down the field and scoring points. So, they have potential to really, really be a good football team. And their time is coming. And we just got to make sure that we're ready for the moment. We're ready for the opportunity, ready for the challenge. And we just got to go in and play, all year. It don't matter who we are playing. If it's Savannah State, if it's out-of-conference team, we want to make sure that we continue to do what we do best. And that's, like you said, that's eliminate all the penalties that we used again at the beginning of the year, stop the run the football, and just let Greg McGee manage the game and go from there and play great special teams. We believe if we play that way every week, then we have a chance to win. Savannah State, I think it's a tough team. You gotta, and they do scare me a little because they will go out and take chances. They will go out and take risks. So you got to make sure that you cover all situations, all bases, to be prepared for a team like Savannah State.
Right. And, Coach, my last question is talking about Greg. You just mentioned his name for a second. Greg, in pursuit of his record, which I know is not a big deal as far as the team is concerned because you're looking for that win. How impressed were you with his performance last week? William Parker stepped up and got over career rushing day of 151 yards. And it seemed like Greg wasn't involved in yardage or production, but he was still orchestrating the whole team.
Right, and that's what you want to see. You know, Greg's been doing this for a while. And at some point, you know, a guy like Greg McGee is going to get fatigued mentally, physically, because we put so much on him. You know, we expect so much out that guy. And it was good to see that other individuals around him was taking pressure away from him. You know, William Parker, Rich, those guys, they was making plays without Greg really exerting himself as much as he used to. And when you look at the stats in the weeks prior, Greg will lead the team in rushing, he will lead the team in passing. And that's a lot for a quarterback, you know, to do week in and week out. But it was good to see that he was involved in certain ways. But the guys, they made the plays. And that's you know, usually, you know, a good quarterback always going to have weapons around him that can take pressure off him. That you can throw a 5-yard pass or swing pass, and they can get the yardage to get you where you want to be. You know, just hand the ball off and just carry out your responsibility for us to fake, you know, things of that nature. And the running back does a good job. And the O-line, I mean, everything has to work for that individual, for that quarterback to achieve his accolades, no doubt about it. But we're definitely proud that Greg McGee is doing what he's doing as an individual. And Greg is he's an unselfish guy, and he wants to win. You know, he's aware of what's going on as far as stats and things of that nature, but he wants to win, and all those things will come at the end of the season. You know, there's no doubt in my mind right now, Greg McGee is one of the best quarterbacks to come through Howard University, probably the MEAC, and so he's done a lot. He's done enough in my eyes. So everything from this point on, we just want to make sure that we satisfy him and that he continues to have the best experience while he's at Howard University.
Great. Good luck, Coach. Thanks for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have no further questions.
Thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach Harrell. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
Thank you, Patricia.
Howard will travel to Savannah, Georgia on Saturday, November 8th. That game kicks off at 6 p.m. at the Ted E. Wright Stadium, and they will be playing against Savannah State. Our next interview is with Norfolk State head coach Pete Adrian. Good morning, Coach Adrian.
Good morning, Patricia. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Coach. How about yourself?
Oh, just trying to get ready for this short week like everybody else is.
Definitely. Well, before we talk about this week, let's talk about last week. It was a good win for the Spartans. Can you talk about that win over Florida A&M?
Well, it was really a great game to win and probably a tough game to lose. I mean, we knew it was going to be extremely difficult playing down there for their homecoming game. It's a tremendous atmosphere for the players and the fans and whatnot. And it's a pretty good day other than windy. And I thought both teams really played hard football and fought throughout the ball game, and it went down to the very last second. So it was a big win for us and very happy to have it.
Well, Coach, this team is still very much in the title race, currently sitting in a 5-way tie for first place. Do you at any point talk about title runs, or do you focus on individual games at this point in the season?
No, we just go one game at a time because the next game is the game you have to win. And if you keep doing that, then you have a chance. But right now, you know, we're just like everybody else. You got to try to win your next football game.
Well, speaking of that next football game, as you discussed, it is a short week, and you will be taking on Bethune-Cookman. What are your thoughts regarding this matchup?
Well, I mean, Bethune is just what it is. It's probably the best team in the league. They play really hard on both sides of the football, always well coached, always have good game plans, and you have to know that it's going to be a physical ball game and be ready to play a physical game. And if you don't, then you're not going to have a chance to win. So, you know, the last time they were up here was 2011 on national TV, and they beat us 14-6. So, I mean, they're certainly aware of that, and then they're not thinking about anything but winning. And of course, that's the sign of a true champion. I mean, they've been the champion, I think, 3 of the last 4 years, and so we got to really play hard, and hopefully we will, and we expect to. And again, you know, it should be a pretty good matchup, but we'll got to go play. That's the fun of it. I mean, like I told our guys, to be into the 10th game of the season and still have a chance to win your conference titles, that everybody is the position everybody likes to be in. So you got to go get it done.
Thanks, Coach Adrian. That concludes all of my questions this morning, but if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
Okay.
And to register for a question, please push 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. Our first question comes from the line of Luke Williams with the Black College Sports page. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach Adrian.
Good morning, Luke.
You probably had more success defensing this Bethune-Cookman team than others. Is that based on your time there? I know the coaches changed since you were there, but you seem to have figured out a way. I know you figured it out last year to kind of slow them down and keep the game kind of a low-scoring game. What's been the key in terms of that?
Well, I don't know. We'll play hard as we can on defense, and I think last year was 27-24, and the year before that they beat us 48-3, and then it was a 14-6 ball game. So I mean, every year is different. Personnel is different all the time on both sides for both football teams. So we're just going to go out and try to do what we do, and I know they're going to try to do what they do, and we'll just have to see where the cards fall.
Is there a particular key? Or is it the same for every game? Don't turn the ball over, play good on special teams. Or is there anything you have to do against Bethune that is different than perhaps when you prepare for other teams?
Well, yeah, we're going to have to do what we try to do every week. We try to play really good defense, not turn the ball over, and take advantage of special teams. If we can do that, then we have a chance. If we don't, then we're not going to win the game.
Are you able to say at this point which way you're going to go at quarterback?
Oh, Irvin's our starter. Yeah, he's okay. He got knocked out of the Florida A&M games. He got the wind knocked out of him, and got hit pretty hard. But he's fine. He practiced yesterday.
Is it going to be? Do you anticipate the kind of game that you're going to have to put up a lot of points? I know you've had maybe I don't know from your perspective, maybe one game where where Irvin has really put up some big numbers and put some points on the board. But is this the kind of game where you're going to have to? I know how you guys are. You say as long as we put up more than the other team. But do you anticipate this is a game you're going to have to generate a lot of offense, a lot of points?
Well, we certainly like to, but I mean. You got to be realistic and look at it. We got to go out and play as tough as we can and try to keep it a low-scoring game. I don't think we can get in a scoring battle with them because we haven't done that all year, and we're certainly not going to do it against the top defense in the league.
Okay, Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of David Perkins with SBNC Sports. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good. I'm fine. And you?
I'm doing well. Just wanted to ask you, you've won 4 of your last 5 games. Can you talk a little bit about what you would say are the keys to that turnaround?
Well, we've been playing good defense the entire year, and our offense is really young. We have one senior on offense, and we're starting a freshman quarterback, and we've lost a few kids early in camp that never were able to come back off the offense. So those young men, they're just working and trying to get better. I mean, as you get more game experience, you get yourself better on that side of the football, and that's what we have to do and hope for. And of course, every week it's a different challenge, and the kids are responding as well as they can, and hopefully that'll continue.
And could you talk about some of the challenges of playing on a short week, having to play on Thursday?
Well, I think 2 of the biggest challenges. One is from coaches' preparation. You're trying to do work in basically 3 days that you normally have 5 or 6 to do, and then players just being fresh. Guys are still sore from big games on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you're going to be playing on Thursday again like that. So you got to try to back off what you're doing, try to get them ready for Thursday. And if you had a guy hurt on Saturday with say a mild ankle sprain or something like that, he might not be ready to play Thursday, where on Saturday he could. But we're fortunate we didn't have that happen to us. So we're as strong as we'll be.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Brent Warnoff with Daytona Beach News Journal. Please go ahead.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. It looks like Bethune is back to being a 2-quarterback team. Do you see any difference in the two quarterbacks they're using right now?
Well, they're both athletic, and I mean they're running exactly the same offense, and they both throw the football. So I really think it's probably a pretty good thing to have because if one guy gets a little shook up or not doing it well, the other guy can go in and run the same plays and maybe be successful, and that's what you're seeing happen sometimes. And you got to find out who it is. So really, that's probably a pretty good situation to be in.
Do you see that their offense has evolved this year? Is it different than previous years?
Well, they're doing a lot of the same stuff. I mean, every year your personnel changes a little bit, but what they're doing really well. I mean, they're doing a great job running the screen game, doing a great job with the quarterback keeping the ball, off the dive, and they still like to sprint out and spread you out and do the play action with the stop and goes and all that stuff. So, I mean, they're quite multiple, and they do a good job with the formations that they run. So, I mean, you've got to be ready for everything. Plus, if they get a big play on you, 8, 9, 10 yards for a first down, then they're going to be right on the ball and run the play again. So you have to be ready for that. So you can't go to sleep in this game. You've got to be ready to play the entire time at all times.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Thank you. We have no further questions.
Thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach Adrian. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
Thank you.
Norfolk State will host Bethune-Cookman on Thursday, November 6th. The game kicks off at 7:30 p.m. at the Dick Price Stadium in Norfolk, Virginia. The game will also telecast live on ESPNU. Our next interview is with Hampton head coach Connell Maynor. Good morning, Coach Maynor.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Coach. How about yourself?
Hanging in there. Still fighting.
Well, Coach, it was a tough outing last week for the Pirates. Can you talk about that matchup against the Bears?
Yeah, it was a good football game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to come out on the winning side. But we fell behind. We were down 14-0 before we can get on the field and get a chance to have the ball. Our guys didn't quit, falling down early, and came back and made it 14-7.5, and then came out second half and scored and made it 14-14. And they went ahead, and we came back, and then they went ahead 2 scores, and we came back, and they went on the last 2 minutes and 29 seconds to go down and get the winning touchdown. So, our guys, we've been fighting, and I said it all year that we're gonna be competitive. We got a chance to win every game we play, but we got to start winning them. And so we're gonna keep fighting and try to pull some of these games out.
Well, Coach, after such a difficult loss during your homecoming, what is the feel of the locker room heading into this week's matchup?
Well, it was disappointing, but we just take Saturday night and first thing Sunday morning to reflect back on the loss or the win, and then we got to get going on the next week's game. So once they report here Sunday at 2, is on to the next game, and we watch the tape and learn from those mistakes and correct them, and then we got to start getting ready for North Carolina Central. If we would have won the game, it would have been the same thing. When we lose the game, it's the same thing. So we just got to get ready and keep fighting and try to pull them out in the fourth quarter.
Well, as you mentioned, this week you will be facing North Carolina Central during the Eagles' homecoming celebration. What are your thoughts regarding this upcoming matchup?
Oh, man, they got a good football team. Mack is doing a great job. They well coached. They play hard. They played Bethune last week, and it was 20-20 in the fourth quarter. And Bethune scored a late touchdown, and then Central went for it and didn't get it and gave them a short field, and they scored on the next play to make it look like it was a little bit of a lopsided game, but it really wasn't. And it was like one play. They was one play away from winning that football game. So they got a very good football team. They played the defending champs that close of their place, and they came winning that game tied for first place in the conference. So they got a very good football team. It's their homecoming. I'm pretty sure they won't have a problem getting up for us this week because it's homecoming, even though they're coming off a loss. So we got to try to match their intensity for 60 minutes.
Well, thanks, Coach Maynor. That concludes all of my questions this morning, but if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
Okay.
And to register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. Our first question comes from the line of John McCann with the Herald-Sun. Please go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Coach Maynor.
Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, sir. Coach, give me a little insight into coming from the CIAA, where you were basically Brian Jenkins and Buddy Pugh in the MEAC, the top coach, top team in the league. How has that adjustment been, not being that guy with that team?
Well, it was a process. I didn't go in as the top coach. I went in and had to work my way up to the top, and that's what I plan on doing here. Rome wasn't built overnight, so we got to continue to fight. We're right there in every football game. It's not a big difference in the top of the league and the bottom of the league, and so we got to just keep fighting. Try to get a little bit better game plans and get our guys in a little bit better position to be successful.
Things didn't go North Carolina Central's way last weekend, but certainly they're one of the top offenses, if not still the top. I had to check the standing, but certainly a prolific offense. What are your thoughts about? What are your plans on slowing that thing down a little bit?
Yeah, we got to try to slow them down. They got a good offense. Jerry's doing a good job with those guys, and so we got to try to make them one-dimensional. We can't let them run and throw, do whatever they want to do. We got to try to slow them down, make them one-dimensional. And then we got a chance to stop them and limit the big plays. That's what's kind of been hurting us is big plays. If we can limit the big plays on defense, we have a chance.
All right, Coach. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Luke Williams with the Black College Sports page. Please go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Connell. You have played, is it 4 of these teams that are tied? I think only one you haven't played. I'm sorry, you got Bethune-Cookman coming up, but you've played Morgan, you played Norfolk, you played A&T. How would you handicap this race as it's coming down to the wire?
Well, all of them control their own destiny. I think A&T still has Morgan. And that might be the game that they need to win, and they still got Central. So they still got 2 tough games, and, Morgan got A&T and maybe Bethune, and, Bethune got Norfolk, and Norfolk got Bethune. So they all still got to play some good teams. They all still control their own destiny, but they're pretty evenly. South Carolina State, everybody's right there together, Luke. As I just said, the number 1 team to the number 8 team in the league is pretty much evenly, and it's a matter of who's going to make plays late and who wants it the baddest. And that's who's going to wind up winning these games. Look at Bethune and Central last week. I'm telling you, 20-20 in the fourth quarter. That's anybody's football game. You want to play away, and all our games have been close. Us and Morgan last week, we led with 2 minutes and 29 seconds left in the game. We had a 4-point lead, and right. Their first-place team, and we near the bottom. Norfolk State, went to the fourth quarter. South Carolina State went to the fourth quarter with us. So, it's not a lot of difference from the 8th-place team to the first-place team in this league.
How have you, and what do you plan to do this week? I know you've played 3 different quarterbacks, and I guess all of them at one point have had some kind of success. Which way are you trending now, if you're not giving away any secrets to Coach Mack? Which way are you trending in terms of the quarterback to start this week?
Oh, I'm going to start the freshman again. He's started the last 2 games. We're starting to do a little bit better in the red zone. He gives add extra with his legs dimension to the position of quarterback where he can get us out of some plays and have a few less sacks with his mobility. And he's been Rookie of the Week the last 2 weeks. So he's doing a good job, but he's still a freshman. He's still learning. He's still making mistakes. And, that's why we're playing him now and get those out of the way. So he'll be ready to roll, get him 5 conference games. It's different playing in the game and playing in practice or a scrimmage, So he'll have 5 games up under his belt heading into next year. And those mistakes that he's making in these games, he won't be making next year.
Are you more encouraged or discouraged by the fact that you've been so close with all of these teams, but have not had the kind of success that you would like?
A little bit of both. I've been encouraged that we've been in the games. We didn't quit last week. We down 14-0 before we got on the field as an offense. And then halftime was 14-7, so defense stepped it up from there. And then we got the ball, came out and scored, made it 14-14. So our guys don't have any quit in them. We just got to find a way to win and find a way to make a play at the end of the football game to start either scoring to win it or getting a stop to win the game, because we're right there in the fourth quarter every week, and we just got to make a play in the fourth quarter and to win the football game. So I'm encouraged, and then I'm discouraged just because we've been right there, but we haven't been able to turn the corner and come away with the W's, and we've been coming away with more L's than W's. So it's a little bit of both. I'm encouraged by the performance and being right there, but I'm disencouraged by the outcome.
Got you, Coach. Thanks. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have no further questions.
Thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach Maynor. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
Thank you.
Hampton will travel to We'll travel to Durham, North Carolina to take on North Carolina Central. That game kicks off Saturday, November 8th at 2 p.m. and will be played at the O'Kelly-Riddick Stadium. Next up, we have Savannah State head coach Earnest Wilson. Good morning, Coach Wilson.
Good morning, Patricia.
How are you this morning, Coach?
Doing well.
Well, Coach, it was a pretty tough outing last week for the Tigers. Can you talk a little bit about that matchup against South Carolina State?
Well, Coach Pugh did an outstanding job of coaching his guys up. Unfortunately, 49 of the 59 points came off miscues. And it all mainly came off the two-touch returns for interceptions, which they were ill-advised passes. At the same time, the other points came off the punt team. Every single point came off the punt team, which was unbelievable. Drop snaps, block punts, and then they return one. So 49 of those points. So Mr. Bird, Coach Bird, did a great job in preparing his special teams. He's the special teams coordinator for South Carolina State. Did an outstanding job preparing his guys, as well as Coach Pugh. We still got a long way to go, but our problem is that we're making too many mental mistakes, and so we got to get better.
Well, Coach, Marquise Smith has proven to continue to be a pretty bright spot on the defense, currently ranked third in sacks and second in tackles for a loss. Can you talk about his play?
Okay, Marquise did an outstanding job this year. Unfortunately, he's finished for the year. He got clipped in the leg and tore his MCL. But, he was one of the tops in the nation, doing well. And it was something that he had already missed a game and a half at the beginning of the season. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to play. But he did an outstanding job while he's there, and I really look forward to nominating for All-American. And I just think that his future is very bright. He's already in the weight room. So that tells you the type of guy he is.
Oh, definitely, Coach. Our thoughts go out to him. Well, ahead you host Howard. What's the outlook for this matchup?
Well, I want to thank Coach Gary for his kind words. We do have a long way to go. Like I said, a lot of mental mistakes that's being made. But we got to just make sure that we find a classroom and get into a classroom to be able to teach our student athletes and have them better prepared. I think that, the quarterback's outstanding, of course. That's why he is where he is. I heard Ted White last week say he was the number one quarterback, and Jay Walker came by and he laughed and he said he probably is the number one quarterback. But, the quarterback's explosive. The team's running the ball well defensively. The defensive coordinator and I've known each other for a long time. He's an outstanding coach. He have them prepared, and we just got to come and we got to be prepared.
Well, thanks, Coach Wilson. That concludes all of my questions this morning, but if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
And to register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. Our first question comes from the line of Trevin Jones with Howard University Sports. Please go ahead.
Coach Wilson, good morning, sir. I hope everything is well. My first question to you is, coming off the loss and then the injury that you just spoke of with Marquise Smith, how do you keep the Tigers prepared for this upcoming game with HU since the Bison are coming off the momentum of a win? How do you keep the Tigers focused and looking for that first win of this season?
Well, the players had a players-only meeting yesterday, and I thought that was a positive thought. At the same time, we did play well after Marquise went out early in the second quarter. We played well and held them. Like I said, we only, even though that we gave South Carolina a short field and they did, could lose to them, that they did drive the field. We drive the 20 yards or the 30 yards. So they had the red zone work going on, and they were perfect. Our captain, and he's had some multi-sack games.
Coach, I wish you luck this weekend. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Ronald Shields with Tigers Roll. Please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine, Ronald. How you doing?
I'm all right. Just a couple questions. You spoke all the miscues you had on special teams. How does the weather play a factor in that? I read it was some rain and some wind and things. How does that not help your team? It doesn't rain much down here in Savannah during the while you're practicing.
Well, I tell you what, it was cold for some of these guys, and that was crazy. But the funny thing was this: when I was riding down, and I've always had a problem when I coached in the Big Ten and whatnot. When a kid came from Florida, he was fine in the Big Ten because he just usually was a stud player. But when you start getting some guys that came from Florida, and it's kind of funny because I was thinking, I said, at least I don't have any Florida players on the team. Well, I did have one Florida player, and he was used to the nice tropics. And when that snap started going and it was cold, he just started doing all types of things. So it was kind of funny, but, at the same time, you're like, wow, that's the Florida kid. So I don't know if God was playing games with me or not, but, I think we just had bad miscues, and I think it was one of those games.
All right. You spoke about the injury to Smith earlier. Who are some of the players that you expect to step up in his absence? I was looking at a player like Alfred Ansley, who's got 2 interceptions for you this season, which I think is a tie for the team high, and also second in tackles. Can you talk about how you expect him and other players to step up in the loss of Smith?
Well, we definitely will have some players step up. Like I said, we played almost 3 quarters without him and gave up, besides the short field touchdowns, 10 points. And so that tells you that we have a defense that can play when they're focused. We have the number 6 defense in turnovers in the country. So we are making strides, and there's positive things happening. So I think there'll be plenty of guys to step up. And we play a lot of young players right now, and those guys have stepped up, so and did well as freshmen. So I think that it's just a matter of time that this program, and Gary said it, and a lot of coaches, and I appreciate all the coaches saying, hey, it's a matter of time that Savannah State step up. It is about to turn the corner. So we just got to get better focused, more in tune on what we're doing, and things will get done here.
All right, last question. You talk a lot this season about how you don't want your young guys to get down on themselves, in a down year record-wise. Well, so what's your message to your team with 3 games left in the season as you prepare to face, Howard?
Hey, we do the same. Number one, let's get fundamentally right. We got to continue to get fundamentally right. We got to really up the tempo because I think we're holding back in our tempo. I think we play down to teams, and you don't see the same thing in practice. And then finally, each week you want to be 1-0. You don't try to win them all. You just try to win one. You just want to be 1-0 each week. So that's what our focus is, and that's what we're going into this game to beat Howard.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Ty Miller with SBM Sports. Please go ahead.
Coach Wilson, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Ty.
Coach, I know it's a team sport, but just looking back at what took place last year when you took on Howard, and everybody does mention Greg McGee, and he's one of the outstanding players. But when a player, gets 481 yards of offense himself, do you design anything just to specifically key on him in the game and think that if you stop this guy, your chances are greater?
Well, Greg McGee is an outstanding player. I don't think that, I don't know if you can stop him. I think you just have to hold him down and hold him down and hold him low. And I think that's what teams have done, combat him. They had Rutgers down for a little bit. So I think this kid is an explosive player. And like you said, he had 481 total yards last year. He was sitting back in the pocket and let everything clear out. He'll run. We have different players. We have up to 8, 9 different players that's new this year. I think our players are a little bit better. But, he's an outstanding player. And then, like I said, you just got to hold him down and hope that, we can get to him before he decides to run or decides to pass the ball. And I think that's the key, to put the pressure on him, but also have make sure the valve shut down so he don't run out of there.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. We have no further questions.
Thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach Wilson. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
Thank you. Have a great week.
You too. Savannah State will host Howard on Saturday, November 8th. That game kicks off at 6 p.m. at the Ted E. Wright Stadium in Savannah, Georgia. Our next interview is with South Carolina State head coach Buddy Pugh. Good morning, Coach Pugh.
Good morning, Patricia. How are you?
I'm doing well, Coach. How are you?
Doing good.
Well, Coach, pretty dominating performance last week for the Bulldogs. Can you talk a little bit about that matchup against Savannah State?
Yes, we did have a good game on Saturday. We had a win on Saturday. The weather was awful. It was cold and rainy, and I just heard Coach Wilson. It was every kind of thing, and we actually were fortunate enough to win the toss at the beginning, and we elected to kick off and got them pent down in their goal line area. And, it probably was the biggest part of the game because we were able to get a couple short fields, out of that situation because of the fact that the elements were so bad down in there. So, from that point, we were fortunate enough to go ahead and win the football game.
Well, Coach, to date, we may have asked this question, but I'd like to just get your feedback. To date, how has this team met up to or fallen short of the expectations that you placed on this program to start the season?
Well, we are still in it at this point. That's the best thing about our situation. And, the way that we got it figured out, and I could be wrong now, maybe you might have a better idea about this than us, but if we went out, we can't come up with a scenario that we wouldn't get the AQ for our league. Now, winning out is going to be tough for us because we've got 3 games from some real tough from real tough teams. And, we play kind of up and down ourselves, so, this team has had pretty good results, but, we've been pretty inconsistent in our play, especially offensively. And, we're still trying to find ourselves that way. But at the same time, the team does continue to work hard and seems to have a good idea, at least about, some of the kinds of things that we need to do better.
Well, looking ahead, this week you take on Florida A&M. Can you talk about this pending game?
Yeah, we go down to FAMU this coming Saturday afternoon, and that's always a tough deal for us here. The tradition of South Carolina State and FAMU over the years, has been one of a tough, hard-nosed football game, and they've got a new person at the helm. Coach Fuller, has taken over down there for them for the rest of the year. That gives us a little bit of uneasiness. We don't exactly know where he, is going to come from. And, I guess it's kind of like anything else. If you get a new car or whatever, you want to put the pedal to the metal and kind of, see, try that sucker out a little bit. So, it'll be interesting to see exactly where he comes from now that he's had a little more time to, to step back and reflect and try to think about some of the kinds of things that he liked to do once he had this opportunity. So, we're going to play him this Saturday, and I'm worried about him a good bit. It's always a tough game, but it's even tougher now with the unknown, of what they may possibly try to do to us.
Well, thanks, Coach Pugh. That concludes all of my questions this morning, but if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
And to register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. Our first question comes from the line of Ty Miller with SBM Sports. Please go ahead.
Hey, Coach Pugh, good morning to you.
Hey, Ty, how are you?
I'm good. Coach, coaches don't like to talk about the polls. They don't like to talk about the standings, but now they really matter because you do have the tiebreaker on A&T. You got the tiebreaker on Bethune-Cookman. So what do you say to your players, if you can share with us? When do you talk to them about, the standings and what you can do? Because I guess if you do win out, you can get that automatic qualification.
Well, we just say just keep winning, Ty. Any game that we lose at this point pretty much does it for us. So, we just got to continue to win. And, we don't have to look around to get anybody else to help us or do that kind of stuff. It's in our own hands. And I think we may be the only team that's totally got that, and, got the entire destiny in their hands because of the fact that the other two teams in the tie we've beaten and the other two teams in the tie we play. So, we got our shot now. Whether or not we can actually get it done or not, is to be determined. But we do have our shot.
Last season you struggled with Florida A&M at your place, and now you talk about the unknown. Does it make it more of a struggle this year, being that you don't know much about what Coach Corey Fuller is going to throw at you?
I think you're exactly right there. Florida A&M is a tough match for us anytime, every year. And even when they're not playing good, it seems to be a tough game for us. So, it'll be interesting to see exactly how they try to attack us, with the new guy at the helm that way. But, at the same time, we got to just go in there prepared to play as best we can, and hopefully things will work out for us.
And finally, Coach, you look back early in the season, and you did have that bump in the road. I guess we could call it that, maybe, even though North Carolina Central is legitimate. Did you think you'd be in this position to control your own destiny right now?
No, I didn't. And, it was a bump in the road, but Central beat the hell out of us. It wasn't, one of those kind of deals where you go back and say, man, if we had just done that, I don't know what we could have done that day. They really got after us, so it was a legitimate beating. And, we got to, just hopefully not have that happen again. But at the same time, that worries you sometimes because that possibility does exist.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, Ty.
Thank you. We have no further questions.
Thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach Pugh. Best of luck to you and the team this week and safe travels.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Y'all have a good day.
You too. South Carolina State will travel to Tallahassee, Florida to take on Florida A&M. That game kicks off Saturday, November 8th at 3 p.m. and will be played at the Bragg Memorial Stadium. Our next interview is with North Carolina A&T head coach Rod Broadway. Good morning, Coach Broadway.
Good morning, Patricia. How are you?
I'm doing well, Coach. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Well, Coach, sounding a little rested. Can you talk about how the Aggies used that open week last week?
Well, we rested up a little bit, gave the guys a couple of days off, and then we went into preparation for Morgan State. But it was a good break for us 9 weeks into the season, and hopefully we'll be, we got some guys healthy now, and hopefully they'll come back and play well for us this week.
Well, Coach, ironically, turnovers have been a positive note for the Aggies this year, currently leading the MEAC in the turnover margin. Can you talk about the point of emphasis that is placed on protecting the football this year?
That's every year. That's every meeting. That's every practice. It's a point of emphasis with us. Our number 2 principle in our program is to protect the football. And, we've had some games where we didn't. The one that jumps out at me was Delaware State, where we turned it over 5 times. But other than that, I thought we protected the ball fairly decent this year.
Well, Coach, looking ahead, you host a tough and hot Morgan State team. Talk about this pending game.
Well, it's going to be a good game. We've had our issues with Morgan State the last few years. Well, since we've been here, we've had a problem with them. They match up pretty good against us, and, the guys doing a good job up there. But it's a game we look forward to. We have an opportunity to, go out and play well this week, hopefully. And, it's going to take that because I'm impressed with what those guys do and how they do things. but I'm also impressed with our football team and the growth that we've shown. So it should be a pretty good matchup.
Well, thanks, Coach Broadway. That concludes all of my questions, but if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
Thank you. And to register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. We have a question from Edward Lee with the Baltimore Sun. Please go ahead.
Morning, Coach. I was wondering if you could just talk about Saturday's game against Morgan State. This is two teams that are 4-1 in the conference. How significant is this game? Is this basically a championship game for you guys?
No, it's just the next game. One games don't make a championship. It's your body of work that makes the championship. So it's a big game because it's the next game, and Morgan State is playing well. They're hot right now, so we need to play well, and we need to prepare well, and we need to play well. Have a chance against those guys. But we're looking forward to the challenge. It's a great opportunity for us.
Would it be fair to say, though, that the winner of this game is perhaps a little bit in the driver's seat compared to the other team?
I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that. I'm just trying to prepare our football team to win and to play well. And, who's driving, who's riding, it doesn't really matter at this point because there's 3 games left in the season.
How do you strike a balance among your guys between being excited but being too excited?
Well, I like to see our guys get excited. Actually, we have a low-key football team, and it's been business-like approach with these guys. And, hopefully they can get excited and go out and, I like to see them play with their hair on fire. And I think this week, I think they're a little motivated this week. So I'm anxious to see what we do and how we play, actually.
As you mentioned earlier, you guys lead the conference in takeaways, but Morgan State leads the conference in fewest turnovers. How do you try to sort of upset the balance there?
Well, it's simple what we need to do this game. We just need to stop the run because they run the ball really well, and they do protect the football very well. So, our number one priority going into the game is stop the run. But they've also developed the passing game the last few weeks, which makes them a dangerous football team. They're not as one-dimensional as they were earlier. So, now they've created a whole new box of worms for you. So we've got to, gang up and make them throw the ball.
Lee Hall mentioned earlier that if Robert Council is healthy, he's going to be the starter. Does that surprise you, considering how well Moses Gillen has played the past 2 games?
You know what? He knows a heck of a lot more about his football team than I do. So, whatever he says, you need to listen to him. Don't ask me questions about his football team. He's just told you. So, no, it doesn't surprise me. I think most coaches are going to put the guy out there that's going to give them an opportunity to win the ball game.
So which quarterback do you prepare for?
We're just preparing for Morgan and what they do. And, we got tape on both of them. So we're just trying to get ready to play and, play with schemes that they the problems they present to us. We're going to try to defend those. But like I said, our number one thing is take away the run. And, I think their running back is outstanding. That guy is a really good player. So, he has our attention. The quarterback has our attention. The offensive line, and again, my head's off those guys. I think they've done an outstanding job. When you look at what they do and how they do things, well-coached football team, they play hard. So, they've done an outstanding job, that football team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Ty Miller with SBM Sports. Please go ahead.
Hey, Coach Broadway. Good morning to you.
Hey, Ty. How are you?
I'm good. I got most of what I needed from the last questions, but I do want to ask you about your recollections of the last year's game, which you lost nearly 24-23. If you can, what sticks out most about that game last year in Baltimore?
Well, we couldn't get them stopped, and the quarterback had a big day running the ball against us. But that's 2 years in a row. We've lost to Morgan last drive 2 years in a row. And, somehow we need to figure out a way to get these guys stopped because offensively I think they're really good. I think their attack is really good. And, again, I think they've done an outstanding job, getting those guys coached up. So, we're going to have a work cut out for us because those guys have come a long way, I think.
Coach, you did mention Herb Walker, and I know he and Tarika, 2 totally different type backs, but would you think that that's got to be the key to this game for both teams, the one that probably runs the balls best may have the best shot of winning?
I think you may be right, Tom. And serious mistakes is the team that runs the ball or the teams that get the stop the run. I like their chances, and hopefully we can get the run stopped. And then second thing is going to come down to major mistakes. Who makes the fierce mistakes will have an opportunity to win this ball game.
Well, thanks, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. We have no further questions.
Thanks again for joining us this morning, Coach Broadway. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
All right, thanks, Patricia. You have a good day.
You too.
All right, thanks.
Our next interview is with North Carolina Central head coach Jerry Mack. Good morning, Coach Mack.
Good morning, Patricia.
How are you this morning, Coach?
I'm doing okay.
Well, Coach, competitive matchup for the Eagles last week. However, you did not get the win. Can you talk about the matchup against Bethune-Cookman?
Well, I thought our guys came out and they played extremely hard. They gave everything they had for about 3.5 quarters. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't good enough. Bethune-Cookman is one of the top teams, not only in our conference, but in the country right now. And, it just shows as a program, we still got some work to do to try to get to that level.
Well, Coach, as you're discussing that, this team has defeated powerhouses such as South Carolina State and has stood toe-to-toe with top-ranked Bethune-Cookman. How does competing with the traditional conference powerhouses aid in the team's overall growth? And is there any negative feedback or impact with this team producing as it's doing so far this season?
Well, I think right now, we're not able to close the deal on those games. And I think that was the difference, and that's what you see on teams that are traditionally, very good football teams and that have that kind of ability. They know how to win games and they know how to close games out in the end. And that's what any good football team is going to do. And right now, we're just not doing that as an overall team and as an overall program. In order to get to that level, that's what we're going to have to grow in the off season. We're going to talk about finishing, and we got to talk about finishing the season out strong this year as well. We still got an opportunity to win 7 games and have a winning football season. So, we just got to continue to take it day by day and game by game. And you never know how this thing all pans out at the end. So we do take care of our business. We're taking it one game, one play at a time.
Well, looking ahead, this week you host Hampton. Can you talk about this upcoming matchup?
Very talented football team. Coach Maynor has done an excellent job over there in a short time. Those guys have been in almost every game they played this year, and they just came out on the short end of the stick a little bit. But they're a very capable team. There's no reflection on their record right now. They have some explosive players, and defensively they made some changes throughout the course of the year, and they're doing an excellent job of getting those guys to continue to believe and continue to play hard for them.
Well, thanks, Coach Mack. That concludes all of my questions this morning. But if I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media.
Thank you. To register for a question, please push the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. Our first question comes from the line of John McCann with the Herald-Sun. Please go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Coach?
Hey, John.
Coach, is 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter by Bethune less about your guys not being able to finish and just simply more about the power of Bethune-Cookman coming through?
Well, I think it's kind of to do with our offense and defense all kind of combined. We always talk about losing as a team and winning as a team. It's a little bit deeper than just defensively to break downs or Bethune being powerful in the fourth quarter. You go back to looking at it offensively, too. We didn't do a good job on the offense side of the ball getting first downs or moving the chains in the second half, which puts the defense in a tough position. They were out on the field entirely too long in that fourth quarter and that second half. So it's all kind of complements one another. Offensively, we didn't play to our ability. Defensively, they have to understand that, whenever you're on the field, you still have to do your job and stop the run. And then thirdly, like you said, Bethune-Cookman is one of the top rushing teams in the conference, and they did an excellent job of exploiting us and attacking us and wearing us down.
You touched on my question. I wanted to ask you, scheme-wise, do you think that nickel secondary and not being so stout up front in terms of personnel, if that came back to bite you? But it sounds like you would argue that it's a matter of being tired and attrition by being on the field so much.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just, we had guys in position to make the play. There's a body there. The guys got to bring the guy down to the ground. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. As a coaching staff, we put the guys in position to make plays, and Like I said, they were on the field probably entirely too long in their second half, and especially in their fourth quarter. And when you get weary and when you get tired, that's when you got to find a way to persevere and push through. And we just didn't do that on last Saturday.
And, Coach, something tells me your first homecoming as a head coach is you're not going to be focused on all the festivities this week, Coach. Something tells me you just strictly business.
Yeah, I mean, like I told those guys, homecoming is for people to come back, the alumni, fans, and friends. Our purpose is to win a football game and put ourselves in a position to have a strong winning season, and who knows how this thing turns out at the end. So we got to take care of business on Saturday, and we can't get it caught up in all the festivities. We'll celebrate after the game.
And lastly, Coach, we've seen it before. After you guys lost to Morgan State, a lot of folks, maybe outside the program, figure your chances of a championship were out of the question. But then we saw teams take losses, and y'all were right there in the mix up until last week. Now, can those folks really say it's really, a very, very outside chance for y'all to win that MEAC title?
Well, you just never know. That's why we got to keep playing our brand of football. We got to continue to get better as a program. A lot of things can happen over the next 3 weeks. A lot of people get knocked off. So we just got to stay focused and make sure if those things do occur, we've done everything that we can from here on out to put ourselves in a position to, eventually get some recognition at the end of the year.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, John.